Let me try fading this up gracefully. All right, what's up, everyone? We've got 0 viewers on the stream right now, which is completely fine, because this is my first ever stream doing this. So yeah, let's get going, I guess. What are we doing here today? Well, we're creating a shortener. Well, okay, hang on. Let's start off. Start from the beginning. So this series is called From Paper to Prod, and essentially the goal of the series is that by the end of it, however many episodes it takes, by the end of it, I will have created something that is running live in production and that people can access, and that it's there. So that's kind of the goal here. Obviously, we're not going to be able to do that in one session, mainly because there's a lot of stuff I don't know. And also because it's a learning experience. It's going to be fun. This is my first time ever doing a live code stream like this before, so yeah, it should be interesting. All right, so let's get started. What am I trying to build here today? Well, essentially what I'm trying to build is something similar, is a URL shortener, so something similar to Bitly. So in Bitly, if you put in something like, I don't know, CNN.com, what happens is you get something like, oh, okay, cool. Well, it gives you like cnn.it slash a thing, which is interesting because before it used to give you something like bit.ly and then like a small hash. So let's draw out what we're going to do here. So let's say we're a browser. Text box. Text box. Text box. Text. Let's put in a URL like tratniaki.com. URL to shorten. And so this goes out, and then coming back, we'll do let's name our, I don't know, what's our URL going to be? URL, let's call it dev.tratniaki.com slash BRT43, something like that. So basically, you put in a URL, and what you get back is a hash. So that's kind of what we're trying to do. So cool. How are we going to build this? Well, let's do something called small slices, which essentially means let's build the smallest thing possible. That's kind of a proof of concept. So let's do this. What does the server look like? Okay. Let me today pretend that we have a web server, and going into it, we have URL, and let's call that I don't know, let's say cnn.com. Am I allowed to say cnn.com? I don't know. This needs to be okay, and then when it comes back out, we're gonna get a shortened URL. Slash Bert34D. Alright, seems good enough. Let's go ahead and create a web server that can do this. I'm not sure if everyone can see my screen here, but we're going to go for it. Shortener npm init. I'm going to do this through JavaScript. Why? Because JavaScript, that's why. Shortener, sure, version 1. A proof of concept URL shortener. Yeah, I don't have a test command. I also don't have a Git repository, though I should make one. I think I'm going to do that right after this. Actually, that's a good point. I should do that first. Git init. Cool. Git status, nothing. Let's do git checkout b 000 proof git checkout b 00 ep0 poc. Status. Cool. npm init. Shortener. Yep. POC URL shortener. That sounds good. None. I'm still not gonna worry about this. Not gonna worry about this. Tiratnaki. That's me. Sure. I see. Sounds good. Yeah. Let's do it. Run it. Cool. Nope. Cool. All right. Where are we at here? We got a package.json. Awesome. Well, first thing I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna get like an Express server going. Is that the best way to do it? I don't know. Let's do that because that's what I know, and people like familiarity more than they like not familiarity. So let me install Express. Getting started. Hello world. Did it not create my index.json? It did not. That's okay. Index.js. And you should never copy and paste code. That is not something you should ever do in life, but I'm gonna do it. So remember, what we're trying to do is we're trying to build a web server that you can send a URL and you can get back a shortened URL, right? So let's see what this builds or what this runs. So if I do node index, okay, so we're running something. If I do it in my browser, which is the way I'm going to do it for now because it's easier. Sick. Hello world. Booyah, we're business. Call it a day. I just endorsed me on LinkedIn. I know how to do web programming. We're done. No, okay, cool. So this is good. Where we have something, we have a web server. Now what I actually need to do is I need to be able to handle input. So let's continue on port 3000 and let's handle URL parameters. Guide. I think there's one that's like URL. Oh, user ID. Cool. Here we go, right here. Again, never copy past the code because that's not how the real world works. Just kidding. That's exactly how the real world works. And we're going to do that. So I'm going to say we're going to send our URLs to be shortened to /shorten and shorten. And this is going to be a URL. And we're going to say whenever we get something that comes in with a URL to shorten, we're going to go ahead and send that back out, being like, hey, your URL to shorten is this. So let's do that. Let's actually first log it out so that we see what we get. So in Express, or with most web servers, you're dealing with a request and a response. Request contains the package of whatever you're getting in, and the response is obviously whatever you're sending out. So let's see what that actually looks like. Looks like. And console log. The URL is, I know I shouldn't be using console log, but you know what, I am. And just because I don't want to send random things, I'm going to say we're up and running. You know what, if I'm able to get the URL, I'm just going to put it here. The URL you want to shorten is rec.parent escape rec.params.url. Also, I'm not sure if you guys can see the code that I'm writing. The only way I can really communicate with you is via chat. So if it doesn't look good, let me know, because to me that looks pretty good. But I'm also looking not at the screen. So let's try that. Run it. Okay, so our default route is working here. So let's try this. Shorten CNN.com. Awesome. If we check here, we can see that the URL that we want to shorten is CNN.com. Bada bing, bada boom. Perfect. Now we're getting in our input. Now what we want to do is get a short something or a shortened version back. So we're going to need to do some logic here. Let's start off with putting in some pseudocode. I'm going to put it right here. Okay, first things first. First, get the URL to shorten. I'm going to say check, make sure it's a legitimate URL to shorten. Once we have the URL, shorten it. Send back the shortened URL. And you're probably wondering, like, how are we going to shorten our URL? Like, how does that work? Well, the way that I think most, like, a good thing that would work here is hashing, or hashing a string. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so URL, let URL equal rec.params.url. I'm going to do the check logic later. We're going to do the hash function next. We're going to say send back the. We're going to send it back. Actually, I'm going to leave rec params because I'm going to need that for later. Let's go ahead and see how we shorten things. Using crypto node.js hash string fixed length. How to use a crypto module in Node.js. Sick. That sounds great. Let's do that. Fun fact, I did this before, which is why I'm blazing through it. Usually I would read what I'm doing because you never want to write code without reading what you're doing, because that's how you get to, that's not it, to the Stack Overflow effect. Const crypt require crypto. Dot create hash. I think I can do that here. Should I be using single quotes? Probably not. I should probably be using double quotes. I actually don't know what the style guideline is, but I'm going to go with it. Let's make sure this compiles first. Or runs. Builds. Sorry, not compiles. Okay, it works. So that means that part hasn't been bad. So let's go make this the short URL. Short let shortened URL equal crypto dot update URL digest hex. And let's send that back. Oh, sorry, this shouldn't be going in here. That's the wrong logic. Cons res.send. Not sure if I can do this, but let's see if we can. Shortened URL. Let's find out. All right. Okay, so that's interesting. We're getting back a hash, which is what we wanted, but we don't want something super. We don't want such a big hash. We want to get a shortened hash. Let's do a fixed length. Fixed length. Oh, well, obviously using, well, yikes. Using SHA-256, not great. I should probably have done more research into this to see how I can get something that is a smaller Um, Perhaps I should have done more research into hashing. Rot-row. Welcome to most of programming, which is just reading stuff. Bcrypting a string Node.js. I feel like bcrypt's not going to give me a fixed length, which is interesting. Nah, this is not what I want. Bcrypt Node.js. Bcrypt's not going to work. Bcrypt's not going to work because it's going to give me a one-way hash. Right? I think. Yeah, bcrypt's a one-way hash. That's fine. We're going to use the lookup anyways. Let's see if that works. This didn't work. It's all about learning stuff. I'm just going to salt it once. I don't think we really need to salt it 10 times. Right. npm install bcrypt. Bcrypt. That's still a giant hash. How the heck does Bitly do this? I should Google this. How does Bitly make a small hash? Right, because it's still say. Oh, my bad. I think I got this. No, that's not it. Generate short hash from string JavaScript node. How does this do it faster, or how does this? Yeah, how does it make such a small uh, small hash? Okay, bitwise string length return hash 0 for var blah, string length. Get this char code at whatever. Okay, cool. Hash equals hash less. Fuck. I forgot bitwise operators. I'm not sure I'm going to do this one. What does a bitwise operator do? I don't want to do that. Yikes. Screw it. Let's just build a random. Okay, I should have done more building into this. Okay. Should come back with a shortened URL. So that way, the next time I ask it, expand. BERT34D. Should be expanded with expanded URL cnn.com. Cool. Okay. Now, how are we gonna do this? How are we gonna? Oh, this gets me saved on a database somewhere. So let's fully flesh out this solution before we build it. We're gonna save this as ID. ID doesn't matter. URL. Or yeah, let's save this as the ID. ID is BERT34D. URL is cnn.com. And here what's gonna happen is, hey, get me a record associated with BERT34D. That's why we don't really even need to hash this. We just need to get a unique identifier. Okay, so the reason why we would want to hash is if someone keeps repeatedly putting in cnn.com, we don't need to check the database to see if cnn.com exists. We can just check for a hash, which is a lot faster. Yeah. So hashing would still be great, but we can just cheat and create some sort of URL number combination. All right, let's do that. At this point, we're not going to use database. We're just going to use a flat JSON file because we can use that to mock a database from now, and then we can go into a database later. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Let's find a solution for that. Node.js, JSON database. LowDB. Is this the one? Yeah, this is the one I was using. Cool. I'm not going to use bcrypt for this. I am going to use something easier. Okay, we're going to use that. We're going to go ahead and use that as the adapter. Whichever URL, shorten it. I'm not going to bcrypt this. I'm going to worry about the hashing function later. We're just going to generate one. Oh yeah, what do I want my data structure to be? Well, I'm thinking, well, we already have it. It's going to be an array of these kinds of IDs and URLs. Okay. So if I go back to, where was I? Okay, as soon as this runs, it's going to create a JSON file for me called db.json. That's cool. What I'm going to do is I'm going to generate a random shortened URL and then save that. So let's do this. Shortened URL equals URL plus counter. Let counter equals 0. For now. This is going to break. I'm pretty sure this is going to break. Cool. Yeah, that's good. We wanted it to break. That's intended behavior. Where am I still using bcrypt? I shouldn't be using bcrypt. Cool, URL 0. Okay, that's good enough for me. Let's also have a base name equals Chiratnaki, or base name is that plus shortened URL. Full URL. Sick. URL 0. Let's actually write this to a database, and I'll worry about hashing second. Also, hi Franny. I think you are now watching me on this code stream. That's cool. Welcome. Watch me fumble my way around JavaScript. Okay, so let's write this to the database. Copy paste to this. URLs push ID. We're not going to use an ID. We're going to use, ah crap, what was the format we're using? ID and URL. Okay, sick. Nope, that's not right. We should be using, fine, okay, ID, URL. Yeah, that's good enough. Wait, I'm dumb. There's an easy way to do this. I could just randomly... I could just get a random bit stream, and... I could just generate a random string that's a certain length. That's genius. God, I'm so good. Okay, just kidding. I'm not that great. Randomly generate string Node.js fixed length. UUIDs. That's what I should have done. Oh man, I love it when a plan comes together. You just want a unique identifier. But I don't want like a long UUID. I want a certain length. Length? Is that an option? Nope, it's not an option. UUID random. Screw it. We're going to use a UUID. I don't care. We're going to use this. Is there a way to do a short node generate short UUID? Is that a thing we can do? Yeah. Generate translate standard UIDs into shorter or just different formats and back. Translator 2, v4. Screw it. We'll go with that. That's pretty easy to do. Whatever. Fine. Should I be randomly installing npm packages? Probably not. But am I going to do it? Definitely. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Okay, let's get this back here. We're not going to do a counter. We don't want that. We're going to have a base name. That's fine. We're going to log it out to console. We're going to get the thing to shorten. Then we're going to shorten it. We're going to shorten it by getting a UUID. That's what we're going to do. Shorten using a UUID. Cool. Comment as you go. Configuration options. I'm not gonna say UID because it's kind of we can tell. To generate a v4 shortened UUID. Dang it, no, we do want a hash, because then I can just look up if the hash exists. Damn it! Damn it, programming. Generate short hash from string Node.js. Oh, the first result. This is going to be great. And there is no example. Even better. What is hash string? What? Okay, this is useless. don't want to go into crypto theory tonight. I just want to hash something. This is also not what I wanted. God damn it. That's okay. We'll do UID. Don't let perfect get in the way of good. We're just going to use UIDs and we'll do a lookup. It's going to be expensive, but I can figure out hashing later. We're going to go from paper to prod. We're not going to get there if we just learn crypto throughout a night, because I don't have a math degree, unlike certain viewers out there. Shout out for Annie. All right, cool. Let's do this. We're going to, we have short. Translator equals short. Provide a specific alphabet for translation. Generate a shortened V4 UID. Translate to. This is. Yeah, we'll just generate one. Translator.new. I don't think I need to provide a specific alphabet. It's okay. Cool, cool, cool. We're generating different hashes. That's what I like to see. Good enough for me. Let's roll with it. I don't even need to do this translator part. I can just do short.generate. UID. Fun fact, if you just do URL here, it will do URL : URL, which is a fun fact I learned the other day. Actually, I'm going to do entry here. Let entry equal UID URL. Let's actually see it before we send it in. Console.log entry. Should that be our ID? It's going to be our ID. That's cool. Let's do it. Yeah, that should, because that's what we're going to look up by later. So that's fine. Console log entry, dbget URLs push into the database. Get shortened URL. We don't want that. I'm already showing me what the entry is. The full URL is going to be base name plus UUID. Bada bing, bada boom. It's still a pretty long hash, but that's fine. It took us almost an hour to get here. But we're doing great. Let's actually look at our database. That's good. We have that now. You know, I'm not going to worry about this count. I don't really care. So this is where the problem is going to be. If we get CNN.com twice, we don't want to write. I need to be able to check the database to see if there's something that already exists for CNN.com. Now, if we're only searching for CNN.com, that's easy. Like it's 3, 6, 7 characters. We can do a 7-character lookup relatively fast. But what happens when CNN.com becomes like supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.com or burps barfing things blah 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 36400.com. The longer this gets, all I have is a UUID. Hashing is going to have to be the way we do this, but there has to be a shorter way that I can get this, because I don't want a user to put in a long hash every single time. Okay, what if they put in a long hash? No, that's the only information they're going to be providing, so that's not great. This is the problem. How are we going to solve this? How does generate short hash generation Node.js? I thought bcrypt would still work. Bcrypt is just huge. Also, bcrypt uses salt, so they would be unique every time, so that's not great. What does MD5 look like? Still quite long. Not great. Not great. Frick it. Let's use MD5. It's taking too long. This is taking too long. So UUIDs don't... Well, actually, no, it's not. We're learning something. We learned that UUIDs are not the way to do this. Why? Because UUIDs will give us a unique identifier, but the bigger our database gets, it's not going to help us look up URLs better. So let's do MD5. Node.js MD5, and I believe that just uses the crypto library, so it's pretty easy to do. Does MD5 get bigger the more you do? Okay, cool. No, it doesn't. What if I do... It does get bigger. No, it doesn't. Well, I mean, it does get bigger, but, like, it's only... I feel like that is an acceptable loss. Or acceptable thing. That's okay. We'll go with that. War data, crypto. Sure. We're back to using crypto. Const crypto equals require crypto. go ahead and delete db.json. Data not defined. What? Oh, right. That was a simple mistake. All right, yeah, it's a long one. This doesn't really shorten the URL, but it is what it is. All right, so the point being that if I do this, I run this again, these should be exactly the same. Haha, that's good. That's a good thing, because now we can check before we put this in. This is great. So this just means that no matter how many entries we have, yeah, the hash will increase, but it'll be unique, and it'll still be a relatively short unique identifier. Cool. This is good. We're on the money here. That's great. Add to the database, send it back. All right, we're looking good. I'm going to do the error checking later, but the next thing we want to do is make sure it's not something that already exists. Before we add to the database, we're going to search. Check if this already exists in the database. If it doesn't, add to the database. Else, return what we already had. All right, we're making business. We're in business. That's the word. Okay, let's close up some tabs, what we don't need, because this always ends up being a thing. DB get post find where whatever. Cool. Exists. Search results equals db. How do we write before? Yeah. Get URLs. Find hash dot value console.log results. Checking if exists. Also, I was using single quotes the whole time. I should use single quotes. Fuck. Okay. So it gave me the object notation. So I'm going to just do that one more time. All right, we're going to go back in time, assume these don't exist. Let's add another one. Tostring of undefined. What do you mean? What do you mean? How is there no... All right. Now if we do this, there's CNN and CNN2.com. Cool. What we want to get is this first one. So we're going to look that up. So undefined is obviously means that it doesn't exist. Okay. If results... Can you even do that? The only other way this could come out is if there is one result. But there's a possibility there could be more. If it's greater than 1, exit this is bad. There can only be one. Res and $500. Okay, assuming that it exists, we're gonna say console.log Alright, so in this case, if we go for cnn.com, we should get to this path where result is defined, result.length is not greater than 1, so we should just be printing out the results. Did we hash twice? I really hope we didn't hash twice. Oh, we just returned twice. Okay, that's cool. Well, the hash has already been there. So the hash exists. I don't really need an else here then. Make sure there's only one. I can also just return the first, but I'm not going to do that. Res status 500. Send it back. Alright, seems good. Else just return the hash. So it already existed. That's the default or the base case. Cool, we hit the base case. That's a good thing. Yay. Okay. It's looking pretty good, pretty good. Okay, what are we going to do next? Well, let's test this case where if we have multiple entries. To test that case, I'm just going to add another one. This should break. This shouldn't work. Okay, why did that work? Oh, because I didn't save this yet. Huh, weird. Oh, it only gets one. Nope, that's not that's not how I thought this database worked. Why the heck? These are both the same. Why did it not return? Does low only return 1? Perhaps it does. Difference between that and fine. Hmm, this is not working as I expected it to. Or, I mean, fine, whatever. It maybe only just gets 1, and that's okay. In this case, I don't really ever have to worry about this error case. So we're just gonna keep trucking along and hope we never get there. I should also implement some tests. We're gonna do that. Also, this part where we do checking to make sure it's a legitimate URL to shorten. What am I looking for? I just want to make sure that what we're getting is it is a URL. So what does that mean? Well, it looks we're going to do cnn.com, but if we have a longer hash, that's okay too. But essentially what we want to make sure is we have domain.com/thing. But we want to make sure that we don't get like ftp:// domain.com/thing/ or dot other stuff. So I guess we're going to need a regex. We're going to need to regex to make sure what we're getting in is URL. No, so let's find that out. Use a regex to make sure it's only a URL. Legitimate equals URL. Figure this out through regex. Hello, Jacqueline. Welcome to the stream. Please teach me how to regex because I don't know. Regex URL. This is a classic Node.js problem. There's the long answer, which teaches you how to do it properly, and then there's this one npm package that tells you can just use me. It'll be fine. And I'm going to pick use me, it'll be fine, and see how this works. Blah, 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 URL regex test. Why is why does this equal, why is this true, and then why is this also true? What? Yeah, I'm noping out of here. This is not a good one. This is the exact same thing as before. But I don't want to learn regex, Jacqueline. That's God. Okay, well, fine. Regex. I guess so. I could use this. I feel like this is not the right way to use this regex. Like, I'm pretty sure this is not what I'm supposed to do here. Like, I'm relatively certain, but that's fine. Oh, to answer your question, I'm making a URL shortener. Basically a thing that, like, yeah, it's like Bitly, but not Bitly, where you put in a URL and then you hang on. Is my chat even showing up on here? All right, so for everyone that's wondering who I'm talking to, there's people on my chat that I can see, but it's just not showing up here on the stream. The question is, what am I making? I'm making a URL shortener. If given a URL string, it gives back a shortened URL string off of my web server. That's what I'm doing. The problems we've solved so far is realizing why a UUID is not the right way to do this and a hash is. So we've murdered the use of crypto and using MD5 hashes. Even though it's a long hash, it's still a hash, so it's easier to look up later. So right now what I'm doing is I'm just doing the validation or input validation just to make sure that I only actually hash things that are URLs. That's what the regex is for. So at this point, we're making sure it's a legitimate URL to shorten. Legitimate is URL that goes through this regex and comes back saying you're good. It's been like ages since I've used regex, so let's see how this works. Var blah blah blah, Mari equals exec. Is this how this works? I don't even know if this is how this works. Let regex result equals re.exec URL. I could just console log this. Should I console log it? No. But am I going to do it? Yes. Sick. Alright. That's not good. Why did that happen? Oh, because I didn't read the docs properly. Of course not. Why are you invalid? Please don't make me use a package. Okay, cool. Damn it, it's making me use a package. Just show me how you do it using regex. Oh. Nope. That's for foo. I'm down. It's been ages since I've touched code, so this is my way to get back into it. Fuck, this is not what I need. Oh, okay, cool. I guess that'll work. How's this even working? This is checking. Okay, weird. HTTPS or FTP. It's checking IP addresses with 3 octets. With these, okay, it's checking ranges to make sure they're RFC compliant. It's checking internal ranges. It is checking the ASCII, not ASCII, the whatever that is, the other notation of this. Okay, well, that's an unnecessarily complex regex. But regardless, this is what I want to do. I don't know how this is working. Actually, I'm going to try this. Is this actually going to work? Oh, wow, it actually worked. That's cool. Alright, well, let me try that. Maybe I'm just using new regexp, and I'm not supposed to. Unnecessarily complicated, but I'm going to do that. I don't like that, but that's okay. Fine, but I'm still also going to check for HTTP. I think this is right. Okay, so what is an invalid URL then? Alright, well that's one way to check false. HTTP CNN.com. Right. Obviously not. True. Okay, so well, we actually don't need HTTP then. Like, that's not a necessary check on here, because we shouldn't be allowing HTTP. If I remember how to read regexes right, and I don't, I'm pretty sure we take out this snippet, which we don't need. We don't even need a test for that, because Express is immediately going to barf before we get there. Right, because Express is going to be like, hey, this path doesn't exist. So I can just do a generic 404 for that. Or generic 500? 404? 404. Yeah, cannot get. I'm going to add that in later. Okay. To add generic 404 handler later. If not true, then immediately send back saying, hey, you suck, you're not a valid URL, so don't ever come back here. How does Express do res.send? Res.send. Res.error, I think? Res.send .status. Okay, res.status. Bada bing, bada boom. Is a bad URL. Swat it down. I am really regretting not doing testing for this, but that's okay. Why did it not do my console log? Ah, because Node's async. That's why. See you, Jacqueline. Thank you for joining me on chat. Right, because Node's async, and that's because of that. I'm not going to see that console log before it actually goes out. Okay, that's less than ideal. Well, this complaint cannot set headers after they are sent to the client is because of this. How do I set this and then get out? Express res send error next. Pretty sure it's res.next. Like, I feel like that's what it was. Oh, because I don't want to set... That's because I don't want to send the message right away. Can I do next? I don't think I can. Okay, well, actually, let me first confirm my hypothesis that this is happening because of this send. I'm pretty sure I am correct. But you're not sure until you're sure. Do I need to do dot end? Is that why? I don't think so. That doesn't seem right. I've done this before. I'm pretty sure that's not how you do it. Oh, I'm an idiot. I never... Oh my god. Well, I never restarted my Node servers. That's probably why this is happening. Well, actually, let's confirm this. If this works, that's a good sign. Hey, okay, cool. That's why. Cannot set headers. I need to be able to do next here. rec, where is it? Because after this, we just want to immediately exit out. Why? Why is this? All right, well, I gotta read this more. So header right. What I don't want to do is enter in an error here and then do error handling at the very end. Like I'm 100% sure this is not the right pattern. I should just be able to exit out here. Simple fixes errors to add a return? What? Don't think that's right, but sure, let's try it. I really don't think that's right. Huh. It worked. I guess I don't understand how JavaScript actually works. That's on me. Cool. Okay. Well, I think this is a good good spot to stop here. All right. So what have we done today? We're able to get a URL. We're able to hash it, return back or save it to a database, and then return it back. If we get something that's not a URL, it's not right, we'll say, hey, that's not good. We'll also check the database before we write it to make sure it's legit. So yeah, we're halfway there. So this is good for now. What we want to do next, what we've done today is this part where we've got thing and we're writing to a database. What we want to do next time is actually look up a provided hash and get back the expanded URL. Pretty close. Once that's up, we can actually get started on the DevOpsy side of it, of getting this up and running somewhere. Anyways, thanks for checking in, guys. This is like super hacky and slashy. I'm a little bit embarrassed because I am not as good at programming as I thought I remembered being. But that's okay. You need to practice programming a lot, which I haven't done in a long time. So we'll get there from here. Also, I've been bouncing around between Python, Go, and Node. So that's not helpful. That just sounds like a lot of excuses. Anyways, thanks for watching, everyone. This is an hour and a half. I don't think everyone's going to get through this. But if you liked it, please let me know in the chat, because that's currently my only way to communicate with you guys. And see you next Tuesday. All right.